ready to unlock some serious achievement code.
I'm game if you are.
Today, we're diving deep, all right, into Think and Grow Rich. But this isn't just about reading it, it's about cracking it open and finding the gold, you know?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Napoleon Hill's research on hundreds of successful people, all distilled into this one book.
And let's not forget, it was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie himself.
Right, the steel magnate.
So we're not talking about some vague self-help stuff here. This is actionable advice from some of the most successful people in history.
Exactly. And one of the things that Hill emphasizes over and over is the importance of desire.
Not just wishing for things.
No, not at all. But that burning, gotta have it kind of desire.
Like that story in the book about the guy who was determined to work directly with Thomas Edison.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't just want to work for Edison. He wanted to work side by side with him. And
Right.
that desire, that burning desire, led him to move across the country with practically nothing to his name.
That's the kind of desire we're talking about. It's about having a definite goal, a laser focus, and being willing to do whatever it takes to achieve it.
So, if desire is the fuel, what about the obstacles? You know, those things we tell ourselves we can't do or that are impossible.
Well, Hill has a lot to say about that, too. He's got a whole book full of stories about people who overcame incredible odds to achieve what others thought was impossible.
And one of the best examples is Henry Ford.
Oh, absolutely.
When he needed a specific part for his engine, everyone told him it couldn't be done.
But Ford being Ford, he basically said, make it happen.
And they did.
They did. And that's what's so fascinating about Hill's work. He doesn't accept limitations. He pushes past them, and he shows you how to do the same.
It's inspiring, really. But you know what else I find interesting? Hill doesn't buy into the whole knowledge is power thing, at least not completely.
That's right. He says knowledge is only potential power.
It's like having all the ingredients for a cake, but not knowing how to bake.
Exactly. You have to organize that knowledge,
Yeah.
create a plan, and direct it towards your goal.
And that reminds me of the story about the woman who helped her son land his dream job.
Oh, yes.
This wasn't just about sending out resumes. This was next-level job hunting.
It really was.
Mhm.
She helped her son create a full-blown strategy.
They researched the company, the
Yeah.
competition, everything.
They were prepared.
That's a great way to put it. She helped him weaponize his knowledge, gave him that secret ingredient.
And it worked.
It makes you wonder what other ingredients we're overlooking in our own lives, right?
That's a great question. And it leads us to another big idea in the book, the mastermind.
The mastermind.
Yeah, this is a big one.
So what is it?
It's about surrounding yourself with the right people, people who can help you achieve your goals.
So it's not about going it alone.
Not at all. Hill argues that even someone like Henry Ford, who we see as this self-made titan, made his biggest strides after connecting with people like Edison and Firestone.
Wow, even Henry Ford had a mastermind.
Ex-
So it's not just about what you know, it's also about who you know.
And who you surround yourself with.
That's a powerful thought.
It is. It makes you really stop and think about the people in your life
Yeah.
and how they might be influencing your success.
It makes you wonder who you should be inviting to your own table, right?
Right.
Who's pushing you forward and who's holding you back without you even realizing it?
Those are questions we all need to ask ourselves. They really are important questions.
So we've talked about surrounding yourself with the right people, but Hill also dives into this whole other aspect of connection and energy with this idea of sex transmutation.
Honestly, this one kind of threw me for a loop at first.
It's definitely one of the more, shall we say, provocative ideas in the book. But if you can get past the initial shock value, what Hill's really talking about is channeling energy.
Okay, I'm listening.
He noticed a pattern in the successful people he studied. This incredibly high drive, not just ambition, but this intense energy that they seem to direct towards their work. So it's not about suppressing that energy, it's about transforming it.
Exactly, transmutation.
Right, transmutation.
It gives examples of how that raw, passionate energy can fuel creativity, focus, drive, in a way that most people wouldn't expect.
It's like instead of that energy being a distraction, it becomes this secret weapon.
You could say that.
Mm.
He even suggests that some of history's greatest artists, inventors, even leaders, were able to tap into that energy and direct it towards their craft, their goals, their visions.
And I never thought about it that way. Like they figured out how to harness that intensity and make it work for them.
Precisely. And Hill being Hill, he doesn't just throw this out there as a theory. He offers very specific techniques for cultivating that ability to transmute. Things like having a rock-solid, definite chief aim, practicing visualization, even using affirmations to align your subconscious mind with your goals.
It's almost like he's saying we all have this well of potential energy inside us, and it's up to us to tap into it and channel it in a way that moves us towards our goals.
Mm,
Okay, so we've got this burning desire, this energy we're learning to channel, but how do we actually make it all happen? Is that where Hill's emphasis on organized planning comes in?
absolutely. Hill was a big believer in having a plan, and not just some vague idea of what you want to achieve.
Right.
He stressed the need for a detailed roadmap.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just want something badly.
Yeah.
You've got to break it down into manageable steps.
It's like taking that big, audacious dream
Mhm.
and turning it into a series of achievable milestones. I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up. They get overwhelmed by the sheer size of their ambition.
Exactly. And Hill understood that. He urged people to break down those goals into daily actions.
So being intentional with your time.
Yes, your time, your energy, your focus,
So we're talking about to-do lists, daily schedules, that kind of thing.
that's part of it. But it goes deeper than that. Hill also talks about the importance of research, of gaining specialized knowledge in your chosen field.
So becoming an expert.
In a way, yes. He believed that knowledge, when applied strategically, becomes a powerful tool for achieving your goals.
It's like that saying, knowledge is power, but only when you know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Hill was also a big advocate for seeking out mentors, building a network of people who could guide and support you on your journey.
Finding those people who have been there and done that.
Exactly. He understood the value of learning from others who had already achieved what you were striving for.
So it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about finding people who can help you navigate the road ahead.
Precisely. Now another, even with the best plans and the most supportive network, there's one obstacle that can really trick us up.
And what's that?
Fear.
Fear.
Hill dedicated a whole chapter to what he called the 6 ghosts of fear. And there's something we all encounter on the road to success.
I remember reading that chapter and feeling like Hill was shining a light on all my hidden insecurities. So what are those ghosts again?
Well, he called them out one by one. Fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, and, of course, fear of death.
Wow, that's a pretty comprehensive list of our deepest fears. But what I appreciate is that he doesn't just leave us cowering under the covers. He gives us practical advice on how to deal with them, right?
Absolutely. He does this really interesting thing where he links each fear to specific bad habits it can create.
Oh, interesting.
For instance, fear of poverty can lead to indecision, procrastination, playing it too safe.
It's like that feeling of being paralyzed by what ifs. I've totally been there.
And he suggests that fear of criticism can stifle creativity,
Yeah.
make us afraid to put ourselves out there, to really own our ideas.
Oh, 100%. That fear of judgment can be paralyzing. So how do we combat these ghosts? What's the antidote?
Hill's approach is multifaceted. He emphasizes the importance of a positive mental attitude, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and visualizing success.
It's like he's saying, don't give those fears any more power than they already have. But he also encourages us to be proactive, right?
Exactly. He wouldn't want us to just think positive thoughts and hope for the best. He wants us to take action.
Love that.
For example, to combat the fear of poverty, he suggests creating a solid financial plan.
So take action. Don't just worry about it. What about the fear of criticism? How do we deal with that one?
He says to focus on your own goals, not on what others might think. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and drown out the voices of doubt.
That's powerful advice. It's about building that inner resilience, that confidence in your own path.
Exactly. It's about taking control instead of letting fear control you.
And what about the fear of ill health? I mean, we can't just ignore that one, right?
Of course not, but we can be proactive. Hill would tell you to focus on prevention, on taking care of your body and your mind.
So not just worrying about getting sick, but actively investing in your well-being.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the fear of loss of love? That's a big one for a lot of people.
It is, and Hill might suggest focusing on cultivating self-love first. Because when you truly love and value yourself, it becomes easier to attract healthy, loving relationships into your life.
It's about building that strong foundation for yourself.
Exactly.
And then there's the fear of old age. I think that's something a lot of us struggle with as we, well, get older.
I think so too, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Instead of dreading it, why not envision a vibrant and fulfilling future for yourself? Why not surround yourself with people who embody that kind of ageless energy and zest for life?
It's about challenging those societal norms around aging, about defining what old age really means for you.
Exact.
And finally, there's the fear of death. That's the big one, isn't it?
It is. But Hill reminds us that instead of letting it paralyze us, we can use it as a motivator to live our lives to the fullest.
To really squeeze the juice out of life.
Exactly. Focus on your purpose, on making a difference, on leaving a legacy.
Turning that fear into fuel.
Yes.
So we've talked about the 6 ghosts of fear and some ways to combat them, but how does the mastermind fit into all of this?
The mastermind is an essential part of Hill's philosophy. He believed that surrounding yourself with a group of like-minded, supportive individuals could amplify your mental power, provide invaluable guidance, and keep you motivated even when things get tough.
It's like having your own personal board of advisors, a team of cheerleaders who are also invested in your success.
That's a great way to put it. And he wasn't just talking about meeting for coffee once a month. He had a very specific vision for how a mastermind group should function.
I really?
He believed in the importance of regular meetings, clearly defined goals, and a shared commitment to each other's success.
So it's about more than just networking. It's about creating a space for collaboration, for brainstorming, for mutual support and accountability.
Precisely. Hill believed that the synergy created within a mastermind group, the combined energy and intelligence of its members, was far greater than the sum of its parts.
So 1 + 1 = 3.
You could say that. He saw it as a way to tap into a higher level of thinking, a collective wisdom that could unlock extraordinary results.
It's fascinating how many of Hill's ideas come back to this concept of connection, whether it's harnessing the energy of our relationships, overcoming our fears by surrounding ourselves with supportive people, or forming a mastermind group to amplify our collective intelligence. Hill seems to be saying that we're not meant to do this alone.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Hill understood that human beings are social creatures, and that our connections with others have a profound impact on our ability to thrive. He believed that by leveraging the power of these connections, by surrounding ourselves with the right people, and by fostering a spirit of collaboration and mutual support, we could achieve things we never thought possible.
And that's a powerful message, especially in today's world, where it's easy to feel isolated and overwhelmed. So, if there was just one thing you could leave our listeners with today, one key takeaway from Think and Grow Rich, what would it be?
Hill said it best himself. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
Wow.
It's a simple statement, but it speaks to the incredible power we all possess to create our own reality. It reminds us that we are not limited by our circumstances,
Yeah.
but by the thoughts we allow to dominate our minds.
It's a powerful reminder that we are in control, that we have the ability to shape our own destinies, and that anything is possible if we set our minds to it.
Exactly.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive into Think and Grow Rich. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired right now.
Me too.
It's been great chatting with you.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.